Boom, and we're live. And I've had the new mics for probably, I don't know, pushing a year now.
Yeah, they're nice. I mean, they sound crisp. They're clear.
And I always thought you spoke into the top of them, and then you just informed me that they're side mics, and it already sounds better. So see, every time Lapin shows up in my life, he does something that improves it. So thank you again. I mean, you help grow my jiu-jitsu academy to 250 students.
Dude, it's crazy because I remember us talking. And you're like, dude, I got 23 students. I'm sure, am I exaggerating?
Well, no. And
I remember
that's the number of students that I had for fucking 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, we hit our 10-year anniversary in February.
Yeah, I saw. That's awesome.
And I did not figure out the right way to run a jiu-jitsu academy until I'd say 2020.
Yeah.
You know, especially, I mean, there were several things that happened. I lost my job and I had a necessity.
You dedicated, you jumped in both feet.
Yeah.
And not dabbled.
But you also talked to me about a lot of the back end stuff.
Business side of it, not jiu-jitsu, but like, hey, how do we run a good business?
And it's like, hey, jiu-jitsu's cool. And I like that that's the catalyst in which we use to create the culture and the team that we have. But it's also a lot more than your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's why you can see guys that are world champion level jiu-jitsu that are fucking broke couch surfing, because at the end of the day, it's not really about how good your jiu-jitsu is. This is what I always say. I think you have to have a base level of jiu-jitsu where you're not a full of shit person.
Of course. It can't be a McDojo.
I put my hands on you, okay, I got good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have Bushesha jiu-jitsu.
No.
To put a facility that is going to train good athletes, but most importantly, add value to your community.
And quite honestly, I almost think it's actually counterproductive a little bit, because in order to have like world champion level jiu-jitsu, what are you doing? You're not running a business. You're not interacting with customers. You're on the mat smashing people and grinding
and you're
training
not
and
raising kids.
You're right.
And you're not taking your wife out. Right. And you're not like, I mean, we literally just talked about this before we started recording. It's like, if you want to be one of those guys, everything, it's your whole life.
Boom, that's it.
And it's awesome and it's admirable, but a very, very, very small percentage of the population wants to give 100% of their life to jiu-jitsu.
For sure.
99% of our customers and clients work at Boeing. They're electricians. They got 2 small kids at home, and on and on. And jiu-jitsu is just something is part of their life. It's not their life.
Right.
And once you realize that appealing to those people is not only the formula for financial success, but you know what else it is?
Gym success.
But bro, it's empowering the people in our community that need it the most.
100%.
Like, that's cool that I wanted to build a gym that taught the toughest fucking people how to be a little tougher. But is that what society needs? No, society needs programs on empowering children, programs on empowering women, programs on empowering the guys that show up here that are 50 pounds overweight. And they're like, hey man, I need help. Like, if you're a fight club, if you're a fucking competition team, those dudes will never come to you.
No.
And what I found is we have been able to, the magic happens when you can keep an element of your gym that appeals to the most savage of savages, but also soccer moms that are 40 pounds overweight can walk in and be like, hey, I want to try this.
Yeah.
And bro, you're going to see in a couple hours. Wednesday night, I bet we have 50 people at our 6 p.m. practice.
Dude, it's awesome. So, it's been cool for me starting up Fieldcraft Jiu-Jitsu, because obviously I started to build my gym, but when I opened my academy, Vita, I was a blue belt.
Yeah.
And I brought in a black belt to be the professor of the academy.
Which just literally, it proves the point that it's not about your jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jeremy was a savage black belt and good coach, and he really ran the curriculum and was the professor, and I ran the gym, myself and, Casey. But I get to start over. And now I'm the professor out the gate. Yeah. I'm not another blue belt or, shortly after a purple belt, but I'm now the professor. So I'm getting to do things a little bit differently and learned kind of from my mistakes of the first academy. And one of the best compliments I got paid the other day was after a tournament. There's a guy that I really respect up in Salt Lake. He's a 5th degree named Gustavo. And he's like, man, your white belts, man, they don't look like white belt, bro. beautiful jiu-jitsu. I was like,
fuck yeah.
That's a compliment. Because, you go to these tournaments and 2 white belts death grip and they spin in a circle until one falls. And
no one will ever pull guard.
No, exactly. And like, one of the biggest things I started doing with my team out the gate was teaching them how to live drill and flow roll.
Yeah.
So you've got to get vetted and cleared to roll with my girls as a guy. But now I've got all these guys, all these big guys that are white belts still that I will let roll with girls. Because they know how to flow.
Yeah.
And I wish I had learned that earlier.
And bro, there's an art to rolling.
There's an art to rolling. But then they can also like dial it up and go as hard as you want.
Bro, I had a guy visit the gym who is he's actually attending Guns and Geese, but I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. Not because he doesn't want the story out, but I don't want his gym to get cast in a bad light. Right.
Yeah.
He came and rolled with us on Friday, and we were rolling, and I hit him with a couple sweeps, and I was like, hey, you know what? Instead of doing a live roll, I think what would be more beneficial to you is I want to talk to you about your base a little bit, because there's some things I think you could change very easily that would make sweeping you become exponentially more difficult.
Yeah.
And he goes, bro, man, thank you. Like, I'm all ears. I want to learn this stuff. He goes, because at my academy, there's no live rolling allowed.
Wait, what?
I said, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, bro. I was like, I don't know how else to put it. We show up, we drill, and then we'll like, sometimes they'll like put us in certain positions and ask you to like, kind of see how you can get out of this now. But it's like, everything's always controlled and it's always at a drilling pace. There is no live rounds.
One of the things that makes jiu-jitsu so great.
Well, and that's the thing. I realize, that's why like a very simple concept of like anchoring his base in a little different position than where he was.
Yeah.
You can't learn that stuff at a drilling speed.
No,
you can't.
No.
Because the difference of drilling and live, it's vast.
It's vast. And you've got to feel it. You've got to feel getting swept.
Exactly.
For real.
And so it's like, I can teach you the defense to the butterfly sweep. I can teach you the offense of the butterfly sweep, and the angles and the movement and the weight distribution. It all feels like you understand it when you're drilling. But then when you go live and people anchor just a little tighter or resist a little harder, the nuances of the sweep really have to be understood.
100%.
And if you don't do that, it'll never happen. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. So and it makes me sad because if you want to open a jiu-jitsu academy, I mean, I preach mindset of abundance. Please, the more jiu-jitsu academies, the better. Just don't open up right across the street from me, right? But it's scary to know that people are opening up and selling jiu-jitsu without live rules.
Dude,
whoa.
Yeah, it's
and
scary.
that's local to here, bro.
And it's everywhere. And I've always said this, like, I have a couple priorities in the academy, right? My first priority is to jiu-jitsu. Plain and simple.
Yep.
My first priority is to jiu-jitsu, keeping jiu-jitsu real.
Yep.
If you train under me or with me and you receive a degree or a belt or whatever, you are that rank anywhere in the country. Now, obviously, I get it. Like, there are these academies, AOJ and some Checkmat HQ that are breeding world champions, right? That's what they do.
Yeah, which we're not into.
Which we're not into, right? I know what I'm a hobbyist, broken 45-year-old black belt, right? But I've got a good formula. I'm a good leader. I'm a good coach, right? And we had a blue belt come and visit from another local academy. The other night, it was no-gi night, so no one knows what rank they are, right? Nobody knows what rank. But I heard that fly's driving you crazy.
Bro. Hey. I'll get him before the show's over.
So nobody knows what rank you are. I found out through, a buddy invited him. He's like, oh yeah, he's a blue belt. Cool. And he's a stocky, jacked young dude. And I didn't say anything. And, I teach, we drill, we do some positional sparring, right?
Yep.
Because like same thing. Hey, if I'm teaching butterfly sweep now, I want to force people to do or defend the butterfly sweep, because butterfly sweep may not be their game. So if I just go, all right, 5-minute rounds, go guys, they may never end up in butterfly.
Yeah.
So I always do some specific sparring, positional sparring of the technique.
We call it rotation here.
Yeah. I'll do rotational training, pass, sweep, or submit.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
But then like if we're working half guard or butterfly, all right, guys, you're going to start in butterfly. Your partner's going to have butterfly in, one overhook, one underhook, sitting up, go.
Go. Yep.
And then you really get to feel where your base is and how to sweep in the force. Okay, we do a few short rounds. You only have a minute and a half to do that. Ding, 15-second rest, minute and a half. Ding, 15-second rest, minute and a half. Okay, we do a handful of those rounds. All right, now we do 5, 6, 7-minute rounds, depending on what our training cycle is.
Where you can go play your game.
You can go play your game. We start standing.
And we do a lot of that because I'm as guilty of it as anybody as a 10-year black belt. Well, 9.5. Oh, by the way, Joel's here. I should get my 3rd stripe this weekend.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Promoting myself on the podcast. But the thing is, you have to be willing to play in parts of your game that are not your strength.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, I mean, it's cool that you can really, really hone something to a high level, but jiu-jitsu is about constant growth and development. Yeah. So open up your game a little bit. Here's the other thing that is imperative about jiu-jitsu. It is getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
100%. That's what jiu-jitsu is.
Like if you just signed up here and didn't drill and you didn't do anything other than sit underneath Daniel's mother's milk for 10 minutes a night, you're going to become a tougher human being.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to learn about fucking dealing with anxiety.
Controlling your breathing.
Breath control. Yep, you're going to learn about dealing with fight or flight. You're going to learn about fucking, wanting that quit button. You're trying to touch that quit button and you're fighting through that every single day. That is such an important aspect of what we do on the mats. If you take that out,
right,
it's basically fucking taekwondo.
That's right. And if you don't spar, that's what that is.
That's what that is.
And that's the thing. Like these formulas prove, but like this guy finished class with us and he came up to me after class. He goes, dude, he's like, I don't know what you're doing here, but I just found out these are all white belts.
Yep.
I was like, yeah. I was like, short of him, her, and her.
It's the white belt mafia.
And they're not just white belts. They're 6-month, 7-month white belts. Yeah. He's like, dude, I thought they were all blue to purple belts because every one of your students kicked my ass.
Yeah. Yeah. So, bro, and it's funny you say this because I've been thinking about this. I actually, kind of my rule of thumb is you can get your blue belt under me anytime after 1 year of being on the team.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
A lot of times it's 2 years, but 1 year of hard training, if you're showing that you now bring blue belt rolling to our gym, I'm going to recognize you as that.
Right. Yeah.
And we had a fucking army of blue belt or white belts that were probably here, I'd say 18 months. Like, remember Anthony and Oliver?
Yeah.
Like their generation of guys and gals. And bro, I had an army of white belts that when visitors would come in here, they'd be like,
what just hit me?
Bro, Oliver is probably like high level purple belt. Yeah. If you were to just take his skill set.
Right.
But he's 17, he's new. And I told him, I said, I'm going to force you to grow into your blue belt.
Yeah.
And enjoy the journey. We're not having a race to purple belt. I want you to grow into blue belt. Blue belt's a fun part of your journey. I also got kind of shortchanged on some of my belts, and Joao was the one that's like, pump the brakes with this guy. And he held me at brown for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I realized like, oh, sometimes it's good to just kind of just sit and marinate at a belt.
Oh, for sure.
But what I was getting at is I was actually kind of sad to turn my savage white belt mafia into blue belts.
Right.
Because they all got their blue belts, a week or two ago, right? Because I do promotions one time a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, dude. Our white belts had quite the reputation. But at the same time, the new army's growing.
You're building new white belts.
The new army's growing, bro.
Yeah, and that's what I'm telling them. So yeah, I've got some stuff coming up. I think there's a couple people that I just have to promote.
Yeah.
Like I roll with them and I'm like, God dang, this shouldn't be this difficult,
But bro, I kind of have almost like an unwritten standard in my head where if I can't fucking smash you, you're not a white belt anymore. Even if I can beat you and completely obviously, if I'm tying a new blue belt on someone, I can beat them at will.
For sure.
But there's a difference between beating somebody at will and just being able to really have your way with people.
No, absolutely. And I have a gauge too. Like if I can't literally just completely breathe through my nose and do whatever the fuck I want to without even raising my breath, okay, you're not a white belt anymore.
Yes. That's right.
then if I
That
can't,
might sound arrogant to people that don't train, but we got 20 years of jiu-jitsu under our belt.
that's just the way it goes. And then for like blue belt, if I can't submit you at will,
Purple belt.
you're a purple belt.
Yep. That's what I think of that too, because it's like, dude, once you can turn this into a fight for me,
Yeah.
that ain't blue belt
No,
jiu-jitsu.
for sure. And at purple belt, if you get through a round where I can't catch you at least once or more, or you're throwing attacks on me, maybe not finishing him, but you're throwing attacks on me, okay, brown belt.
See, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts on this. We were going to talk about Fieldcraft. Maybe we'll just talk about jiu-jitsu for an hour. For me, I kind of have those standards for white to blue, blue to purple, beyond purple, because if you think about it, purple and above, your jiu-jitsu's good.
Your jiu-jitsu's good.
Your jiu-jitsu's good.
And there's like brown belt to me, like brown belt, you're a black belt basically.
Yeah.
You just
So for me,
maybe time and grade sort of thing.
brown and black are less about technique and more about value you bring to the academy, leadership traits,
Personal growth.
like what you bring as a man or as a woman to this team. You have to bring value.
Yeah. Leadership and coaching.
Yep.
It starts at brown for
Yep,
sure.
for
Brown
sure.
is like, okay,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
can you coach? Can you run a class? Can you translate what you do on the mat to teach someone?
like one of my kids' coaches, Igor. You met Igor.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Igor's rad.
He just got his brown belt.
Nice.
And that is because as a purple belt, he already had good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He still has good jiu-jitsu, but he has really dived into, he's present at every kid's class.
Yeah.
And then he's doing tons of privates.
Nice.
And he's working with team members that have like weird schedules or whatever it may be and giving them the opportunity to train. And he's in the gym constantly. Like I'm literally surprised we didn't see him teaching a private when we got
Well,
here.
and that grows his own jiu-jitsu too.
And so I was like, oh, Igor is like, he's showing me that he's as invested with this gym as you can be. That's brown belt shit.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. No, that's awesome.
And then similarly with black belt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Black belt's like, okay, you did your time at brown belt. Your jiu-jitsu is good. Your jiu-jitsu is black belt level jiu-jitsu, but now you're coaching, you're teaching.
Yeah.
You're stepping up in other ways. Yeah. You've made your time.
And you want to hear something kind of crazy is I tied 3 black belts this week or this month at our promotions.
Yeah.
And all of them did 4 to 5 years at brown belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily the right path, but since that was my path,
That's kind of what you know.
Well, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Because I look at brown belt, the brown belt is the tab spec 4 of the Ranger Regiment.
Yeah.
It's like, you're the guy, you're good at your job, everybody respects you, but you only take on the amount of responsibility that you choose to
That's
take
right.
on.
You're still standing on the wall, bowing in and doing warm-ups.
Yeah.
You're not standing in front
and if you want to really lean into leadership during your brown belt, I think that that's awesome, right? Yeah. But you can also take periods of time at your brown belt and really focus on your own personal growth and your own journey.
Absolutely.
Because I'm here to tell you, once you're a black belt, everybody's always looking to you for answers. And I'm not saying that with any negative connotation. That's just you're the squad leader. You know what I mean? You're the guy. And so after black belt, it's less about you and it's more about the team. And unless you're a fucking, oh man, almost got that fly.
That was close.
And it allows you to kind of choose which direction you want to take your jiu-jitsu. And I think it's a good spot to just fucking hang out.
Yeah, for sure. I was the opposite. I was a brown belt for only a year and a half.
Yeah, I remember.
I was a brown belt for a year and a half, but I competed a lot that year. I say I lost at Pans. I'm not bitter about it, but I lost at Pans. 57 seconds left in the finals, winning 8-2, and I got greedy.
Oh, he's on your mic.
And, but then like finished up my brown belt journey at beating the number 1 seeded guy at brown belt, and beat him, like killed him. And then I got my black belt.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's all part of it.
But here's the thing too, is it's, because people always ask like, dude, what's, they kind of want an understanding of how long between belts or how long it takes to get this or that. And it's like, it's just so fucking, dude, it's so different.
It's so different for
you were
everyone.
blue belt for a decade, right?
No, I was a white belt for a decade. I was a blue belt for 3+ years.
That's right. It's long.
Yeah.
Because you're traveling, switching gyms.
I was deployed. I was working as a contractor. So I was bringing a gi to Iraq, to everywhere with me.
And I did a lot of that too. And it's like, you're still getting a ton of training in. Oh, yeah. And a lot of times, like, there was only a few deployments where I was like, had no good training partners. Right. And it's like super bummed out. But 90% of my deployments, you can find, that dude's a purple belt, this dude's a brown belt, and you get it on.
Yeah.
But as far as actually progressing in rank, it doesn't really mean shit.
No. But, the skill set's the skill set, which is what guys like us really wanted. You know, it's like, for me, and, we've said this before, here, I'll trade you your white belt for my black belt. Let's go roll.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And so we got the skill set. We were training overseas. We were at war, young men at war. We were training overseas. One of my teammates for a long time was a Pan Am champion black belt.
Who's that?
Jeff Garumba.
Oh, I've rolled with Jeff.
Grappler.
Yeah, I've rolled with Jeff.
Rad dude.
Yeah.
But, he was like one of my professors during that time,
Yeah.
And
it was funny because that was like right when I was getting into it. And you don't really understand the levels.
No, you don't understand anything, And
who's this guy, Grappler?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Little short ball dude, and then he just ties you up. Like, oh my God, all right. But yeah, so and then once I opened the academy, I had a pretty quick journey from there. But yeah, I spent like 8 years at white belt.
Yeah.
And then 3+ years at blue. And then purple was fairly quick for me to brown, but at purple, that's when I really started competing heavily. IBJJF like every couple of months, tournaments. I was in the gym 2-3 times a day, 6 days a week. And then got my black belt. But I mean, it was a 14-year journey for me to black belt.
Yep.
14 years to black belt, I think. So,
but that's a perfect example. Like, you were slow on the front end, then you kind of sped up on the back end.
Yeah.
I was the opposite, bro.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I don't like the fact that this happened, but it was because I was 23 years old. I was 220 pounds and I was strong and had a gas tank.
Yeah.
And if you can beat people based on those attributes, some gyms will be like, all right, you're not a white belt anymore. Okay. You're not a blue belt. Like, the reason I got my purple belt, I was a blue belt less than a year.
Oh, wow.
And I choked out 2 purple belts unconscious at practice.
Yeah.
And then the professor's like, if you're putting 2 purple belts to sleep, it means you're a purple belt, and promoted me that night. And I was like, does it though? At the time, I didn't really know.
Right.
But looking back on it, bro, I got guys that'll submit upper belts all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm tying a belt around their waist.
For sure.
It's different than that.
Yeah. I've got a 2-time state champion wrestler in my academy who's 230 pounds. Freak athlete still. Like, dude.
Do you only do gi rounds with him?
Bro. Dude, he's a savage, man. And he gives me a hard round. A legit hard round. Doesn't mean he's a black belt.
Yeah.
It
means he's a fucking high level wrestler.
Means he's a high level wrestler. And now he's starting to really embrace jiu-jitsu, which is cool for me to see.
Yeah.
And he'll be, I don't want to spoil it, but
okay. Secrets.
Nobody knows who I'm talking about, right?
It's funny because remember we talked about, because we run no-gi classes here 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty robust.
We talked about this.
Yeah. We have a pretty robust no-gi program, and some of those guys are becoming fucking monsters, bro.
I run one a week for each class time. One morning a week, one lunch a week, one night a week. That's it.
And when I'm rolling with the no-gi guys, some of them give me pretty fucking tough rounds. And there's one in particular who's a great no-gi grappler. But I told him, I said, hey, if you ever want to belt up, I have to see you in the gi. That's just, and if you don't want to train in the gi, then that tells me you don't care what color of belt keeps your gi closed, because you don't train in the gi. Right. And so he put a gi on Friday and got that epiphany of,
he's a very different grappler.
Oh fuck, dude. Yeah. And I talked to him yesterday. He goes, I put the gi on for you. I don't know if I can ever do that again. I fucking hated it.
Hey, you want to do jiu-jitsu, you got to do it in the gi.
But and I'm very upfront with the guys. I was like, I don't set expectations that you put a gi on. You're a grown ass man. You train however you want to train. This facility offers classes. You want to partake in them? Fucking rad.
Yeah.
My only requirement is that you bring good energy and you're a good teammate.
For sure.
but just know you'll be a white belt the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those guys will put gis on for the promotion ceremony only, just because they want to be part of the deal.
Right, for sure.
You know, which is cool. But yeah, you'll be a white belt forever. Come on, get it. Get it, get it. Yeah, get it, get it. Oh, fuck, you missed. I saw him fly away.
Oh, damn. Not fast enough. That's a fast
By the end of this podcast, the listeners are going to be like,
did he get him?
Fucking get him.
That's the comments.
All right, well, we're a half hour in. We open up with jiu-jitsu. I used to get worried about geeking out on jiu-jitsu.
People like it.
Because it's like, I love it, but do other people want to consume it? And it's not, I mean, the podcast is whatever I want, so whatever, right? But every time we talk about jiu-jitsu, people are like, I love jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Please talk more about it.
Well, also, we hold this, they're going to have to listen to the jiu-jitsu to hear this juicy story, you know?
So, juicy story time. I'll just say, and I'll just let you fucking really unpack it from the very beginning, because we've talked, I have somewhat of an understanding, but Mike got arrested a couple months ago, charged with a crime, and they ended up involving you in it, and it just turned into an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
And for me, being on the outside looking in, Mike's a friend of mine. I trust Mike. I believe what Mike tells me. And the moment it happened, I was like, this doesn't, I know Mike. Something's off here. But the other side of the coin is most of our society believes where there's smoke, there's fire. So a lot of people were judge, jury, and executioner of him immediately.
And me as well.
And it was sad to see you guys go through that. It was sad to see how stressed out you were. And bro, I think I was like watching you age in real time for a little bit.
Yeah, for real.
I was like, fuck, dude, your beard turned gray this month.
Dude, I didn't sleep for like a month and a half.
So just fucking take it from the beginning, bro.
Take it from the beginning. So basically,
and while you start to tell the story, I'm gonna chase the fly.
You're gonna get that fly. Yep. Get a fly swatter and just smack me in the head with it.
Just go ahead.
Yeah. So May 1st, basically. So we're going back some time now. May 1st, I get a phone call from Mike, probably around 9 a.m. in the morning, saying, "Dude, I think I'm getting charged with a domestic." I'm like, "What do you mean? Talk to me." And you want to get rid of it, so he doesn't want to go outside. There we go. Yeah, no more fly. We didn't kill it though. Sorry. Long story short.
No, long story long.
Long story long. So he calls me up and tells me this, and I go, "Dude, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Man, me and I can say her name because her name's been leaked on the internet, all that stuff, right?" And he's like, "Me and Jess got into an argument. And some things were said. She ran upstairs after some things were said, locked herself in the bedroom, and was running a bath, and made some statements that she was going to hurt herself with Leland in her arms." Leland's her, at the time, 8-month-old son. He's like, "I ran up there. The door was locked.
Which is Mike's son with her.
Yeah, Mike's son with her. Clear. Yeah. And there was an argument. She was acting irrationally. That was all it was an argument. He's like, "You need to calm down. You need to relax. I want you to put Leland down. I want you to leave." So he goes back downstairs, is finishing feeding his twins breakfast because they're getting ready to go. And she leaves the house. Now, I'll say this. All these people are like naysaying Mike and, "Oh, he did it. He did this. He did that, blah, blah, blah." So the way the story happened is they were all getting ready to leave for Montana together as a family in like the next 30, 40 minutes. She was dressed. The baby was dressed. The twins were, everyone was ready to go, right? And she was acting irrational. They got into an argument over it. She's yelling. He's yelling. She runs upstairs, comes back downstairs now naked with the baby naked at 7:30 in the morning, running a bath. One, she's never, and this is coming from Mike, she's never bathed the baby at 7:30 in the morning, ever. She was just dressed, ready to go. And now she and the baby are both naked. And they're arguing. She's up on the landing. She said, "Well, I'm just going to end it all then," and runs upstairs, locks the door. Any parent out there is going to go up there and get in that door any way they can to go make sure their son's safe.
Of course, dude.
Right? So that's why he ran upstairs, forced the door open, to check. You know, he's thinking, oh, she's running a bath at 7:30 in the morning. We were just dressed. What is she talking about? What's she going to go do? So there was an argument. He tried to take the baby. She grabbed onto the baby. He was like, all right, you're going to hurt him. You need to calm down. You need to relax, breathe, relax, chill out. And she left. She ended up leaving and going to the hospital and claiming a wrist injury, that her wrist was hurting her. Oh, how was your wrist hurting you? What happened? Well, I was in an argument with my spouse and he grabbed it. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Cops got called. Cops came. A rookie cop came to take the statement. Ultimately, what ended up happening and unfolding over the course of this is she made an absolute horrific, scathing statement about Mike and what happened that morning to the rookie police officer. The rookie police officer took her statement down, which is what he's supposed to do, right? I'm not even faulting him for that in the initial investigation, if you will. And they were at the hospital. She got an X-ray done, looked at by the doctor, all this stuff. And what failed to happen is any sort of actual investigation, right? So the officer didn't review the X-ray with the doctor, didn't get the doctor's take on what was going on, what happened, didn't look at any of that, put it in there, just put that her wrist was broken because that's what she told him. She's like, he broke my wrist and that his wrist was broken. I drive Mike down to the police station. I go in. He wants me to stay with him. I go in and I stay with him. I say, look, you can be cordial with them and tell them, I want you to tell them, hey, look, guys, I want to cooperate. I want to help you guys. I want to answer whatever questions you want. But when it gets to the time of anything that could potentially be incriminating, you need to say, I'd like my lawyer present for me to answer those questions. And we go up there, we sit down in the office. And the first thing they say is they read him his rights. And he goes, I understand my rights. And they go, okay. So they ask him a couple preliminary questions, nothing covering. And look, for all those people listening that don't know me or my background, I was a cop for almost 20 years. And obviously started in patrol, but I was a detective. I was an investigator, worked for street crime, SWAT, narcotics, the whole gamut. So I've been through all this stuff for a long time. And he's like, guys, I want to keep answering your questions for you, but I'd like my attorney here present. And they go, okay, you're not going to talk to us anymore without your attorney? He goes, no, you guys said it's not an incrimination if I want my attorney and that I'm allowed that as my right. Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to talk to us without an attorney?
You're under arrest.
Yeah. Stand up, turn around, you're under arrest. And they arrested him. And they said, her wrist is broken. And he goes, what? How? What? I was there. I witnessed this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of statements going out there that, oh, you're just Mike's boy covering him for him, blah, blah, blah.
Bro, let me say this too, because Mike's my friend.
Yeah. Mike's my friend as well.
And if he fucking decides to start breaking small women's bones, you're not going to be my friend very more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's, but I already knew that, but
it's absurd that you have to even say this.
Hey, spoiler alert. It's going to come out that he didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Sorry for spoiling the story.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because it's the same thing. Mike and I don't go back a decade plus in the Army.
Yeah.
Mike and I go back 2 years.
Yep.
You introduced me to Mike. I met Mike and Jess at the same time at their home.
Yep.
Right. And so people are like, oh, you've got this. No, I'm not covering for my buddy. If I saw her the next day, which I saw her the day after,
yep,
and she was all lumped up and bruised and black-eyed, or her wrist was all
you'd be like, dude, Mike's a fraud, bro.
First things first, stay in jail, motherfucker. Yeah, you deserve it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you're going to go through the criminal justice system. You're lucky I wasn't there or showed up at your house. I'll beat the shit out of you myself. Bro, it's how we are.
And here's the thing, man. It's but we've been homies a while now, right? Yeah. If I hurt Jenny or you hurt Casey in our presence,
we'd have a problem with each other.
We'll be fighting each other.
For sure. For sure. 100%.
That's the code that we live under.
That's right.
And it's important to say that because I had people write me and be like, what are you going to say about your stupid friend now, motherfucker? Yeah. And it's well, first of all, I don't have to say anything.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're another guy arriving in my Instagram inbox that would never say that to my fucking face.
Right.
But it's interesting how people just expect, like, they hear one thing, like the charging document got released.
Yeah.
People started reading that, and that was everything they needed to know.
Her initial statement that got leaked with all the names and dates of birth and address and dates of birth of the kids, everything that got leaked.
Fucking unbelievable, bro.
By Provo PD, because they're the only ones that had it at that time.
Yeah,
it was like day 2 or 3.
Leaked.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that even mean, dude?
And it was by the PD.
I'll tell you why. Because I arrested Mike Glover, and he's famous, and he texted to one of his buddies and be like, dude, look at this fucking probable cause statement, bro.
Yep, that's exactly right. So they take Mike off to jail. Mike goes off to jail. All right. So like anything, I listened. I haven't heard her side of the story yet. I haven't read what she told the officer.
So at that point,
I hadn't read it yet, right?
Just happened.
This is day 1. This is the morning of. All I heard was what Mike had told me about the incident, which Mike's story seems very valid, right? And I'm like, all right.
So he doesn't even know what the charging documents say.
No, he doesn't even know. We know none of this yet. We know none of this. That's why when her wrist is broken, he's like, what? How? Like, how is her wrist broken? You know? And he's like, did she fall down the stairs rushing out of the house or something? Did she punch the steering wheel? Like, literally, this is what's running through his head, because he's like, dude, I did not touch her.
Yeah.
I didn't touch her. All right. So I trust Mike. Mike's a friend of mine. Mike's the CEO of the company that he hired me to be a director of. I've seen Mike over the last 2 years, and he is literally one of like the most by the book rule following people I've ever seen in our organization. But he knows the rules, so he knows how to make the rules work for him, right?
He also seems very like emotionally composed.
Dude, super emotionally.
Like, I'm not emotionally composed.
No, nor am I that much.
The first
you and I boom fire each other up. Mike, I said this, like, Mike's a better dad than I am.
Uh-huh.
Mike is a better human than I am. And Mike is definitely much more controlled and composed of his emotions than I am, for sure, 100%. So I heard Mike's side of the story before we got to the PD. And you never talk to the PD without a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. He asked for a lawyer, folks, and they took him to jail right away. You know? So like, I was with him. All right.
Well, and here's the other thing too, for people to understand, like, if a cop were to walk in here right now and be like, hey, it was brought to my attention that, like, whatever, any fucking scenario, if you're looking at me as the potential fucking criminal, I'm not talking to you anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would advise every fucking person listening to do the same, because when you sit down and they literally say anything you say can and will be used against you in court. They're building a case against you.
Yeah.
So be fucking smart about it. Yeah. And like, if a cop gets butthurt because you're protecting yourself, that's his problem.
And they shouldn't. They're supposed to be an unbiased, objective investigator.
100%.
And these guys were not out the gate. They were not out the gate.
Bro, I liked it when people invoke their rights, because then the investigation's over.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, it's easy, right?
Yeah. So they take him to jail. I'm like, let me go check on things at the house. Right. Now his Malinois over at the house, Pearl, right? She's there. He's got chickens and chicken coops, and I take his possessions from him before we go into the PD and all that stuff. So I've got like his fanny pack with his gun and all that stuff, right? I'm like, let me go over to the house. Let me go see I'm doing my own investigation now, right? And I go over to the house, and Pearl's there, and I'm playing with his dog. And I go inside. I'm like, let me look around a little bit. And he tells me, I forced the door open. Okay, cool. So I'm looking around. There's no mess. There's no signs of a struggle. I go upstairs to where where it occurred, which I don't know her side of the story yet. So I don't know of any that she said there was a struggle, there was a fight, right? Which she did claim in her initial statement. And I go up there and I barely see the door even. I'm like, which door is it? Because they're all hollow core interior doors.
Yeah.
You shoulder check one just a little bit, you're going to break the door, right? Nothing. And then I see some little paint chips on the ground. Oh, the master bedroom door was just barely forced open to where the locking plate in the molding popped open, and the molding just split a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
That's not out of rage. That's pretty just calculated.
Well, and bro, I think I heard Mike say this somewhere. Maybe you told me, but it's like, it's my own door that I'm gonna have to fix.
Right. Yeah. Well, he got charged with destruction of property on
but it's
his own door.
Knowing that as a master breacher of fucking 10 years or whatever he was, like knowing how to defeat a locking mechanism, he wanted to minimize damage because when this is done, I'm going to have to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I go in there and there's no signs of a struggle. There's nothing. I go into the bathroom and there's nothing knocked over. There's like wash cups on the edge of the tub for the baby and stuff, and, stuff that's on a bathtub with little kids in the house. Nothing's knocked over. There's no water on the floor. There's 2 bath mats next to the bathtub. And I'm not talking the rubber bottom sided ones that don't slide, the anti-skid ones. I'm talking about just the cloth little carpets that slide all over the place. You kick it, it rolls up. Dude, they're perfectly square. They're not ajar. They're not a mist. They're not crumpled up. So I'm like, okay, this is what we're having. Yeah, sounds right. Like there's no signs of any struggle at all, right? No signs of anything. Okay. So I take care of the dog. I leave. I go. Fast forward to the next day, his spouse, Jess, regardless of what happened, is still out there in the house by herself with their 8-month-old, with a Malinois, with chickens, with all this stuff. And it's my obligation to make sure Mike's child is safe, for one, especially if she's having any sort of mental crisis. It's my obligation to make sure she's okay as his woman still. Yeah. Right. It's my obligation to make sure his dog's okay. All this stuff. Right. Like Mike's one real friend there. Like, yeah. And he's got Evan. Evan's a little bit further up, but Evan's busy as well. But like me and Evan were the guys. Right. So I go over there. I reach out to Jess, make sure she's okay. I'm chatting with her. And I talk with her and I see her wrist. And she's in this little Velcro like sports wrap that you would buy from like a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Right. That's what's on her wrist. Now my son just broke his wrist not too long ago before it, and he was in a full hard cast, Now granted, he's not a fully grown person, so maybe that's the reason, but nonetheless, she's not in a cast. I asked, hey, how's your wrist feeling? Oh, it hurts. It's painful. It's hard to move. I'm like, oh, is there any swelling? She takes off the wrap and she is as fair skinned as they come. Wrists like this, 100 pounds soaking wet, super fair skin. You can see her veins running through her body. And I look at her wrist and there's no redness. There's no swelling. There's no bruising or yellowing. There's no ligature marks. There's nothing. No marks on her wrist at all. FBI would call that a clue, right? So now here I am a day after. No mess, no signs of a struggle in the bathroom where this argument occurred. No marks on her wrist that is apparently broken, right? And that's it. So I'm building my own investigation in my head. I kind of know what's going on. Then that day, pretty much, I think it was that day or the next day after, they leak her statement to the cop, which was egregious.
What do you mean? Wait. They leaked
her. So the initial gist, the initial report that the cop took at the hospital from her.
Yep.
They leaked that. And I got to read what she told the cop.
Okay. Got it.
Right.
Yep.
I got to read what she told the cop. And what it comes down to, and she's admitted this now. And look, I'm not going to cast judgment. I'm not going to say anything bad, right? People have emotional episodes and like she's a new mother. Well, she's young.
I'm here to tell you, if anyone's fucking wondering, postpartum is real.
Postpartum is real.
Because I watched my wife battle it.
Yeah.
Really bad at times.
Yeah. Postpartum is real. And she was having some postpartum depression and she was emotional. All right. So she went to the cop. She went to the hospital knowing that if she said she was in an argument and her spouse grabbed her wrist and it hurts, that the cops would get called. And then she sent it. She tried to burn Mike to the ground and she lied to the cops. She lied in her initial statement to the cops about what happened. And what she told the cops did not happen at all.
Do women get in trouble for that?
No. Very rarely. And
so here's the thing. It's like, on one hand, if you would punish people for false statements, a lot of people would now become more reluctant to make truthful statements because if there's not enough evidence, is this going to come back on me? Right?
For sure.
And I can get that. But at the same time, bro, when you're saying things that have the potential to put people in fucking prison and it's untrue.
For like 30 years.
You should fucking go to prison.
For sure. So, and this kind of came out because you know, obviously I'm looking after Mike's. I'm legitimately looking after Mike's spouse, his girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, the mother of his child.
Feeding his chickens.
I'm looking after his son, make sure he's safe, she's safe, taking care of his dog, letting Pearl out every morning, putting her back in the evening, playing with her, putting the chickens back in the coop so they don't get eaten and stuff overnight. And I'm legitimately trying to take care of his family while he's in jail. Meanwhile, I'm also going over there, full disclosure, to make sure that she is not enraged, selling or destroying all his shit, selling his motorcycles, selling his cars, but destroying stuff, right? I'm making sure his stuff is still taken care of.
Because that shit happens.
That shit happens all the time. So I'm going over there.
I know a guy who came home from Ranger School.
Everything gone.
Everything he owned was gone.
Yeah.
And she said, "Ann, you don't live here anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
That's
though.
what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah,
It happens. So I'm going over there with legitimacy, making sure she's okay, the child's okay, the dog's okay, the chicken's okay, the house is okay, but also that she's not losing it and selling off all his shit, destroying his shit. So Mike, I'm like the only number that Mike memorized before he went to jail. So Mike is calling me from lockup. I'm adding money to his little inmate account so he can call me. And obviously, like, you know, he's worried about his son. Hey, your son's good. He's healthy. I was over there today playing with him. Jess is fine, you know. And obviously, like, I have no onus to not talk to Jess. I'm legally allowed to talk to Jess.
Yeah.
I'm legally allowed to talk to Mike. I'm legally allowed to tell Mike what's going on at his house with his spouse, his child, and everything. What I'm not legally allowed to do is I'm not legally allowed to threaten, coerce, blackmail Jess to lie and make a false statement. I'm not legally allowed to do that.
And nobody is.
Nobody is, right? That is witness tampering. At no point in time did I ever do anything like that. I've actually have audio recordings of me going over there and, you know, basically Jess starts asking me questions. Well, how is Mike? Well, he's not doing great. He's in jail.
Yeah.
Well, how is he being treated? I don't know. He's in jail. What's he wearing? Probably prisoner striped scrubs. I don't know what they wear there, but he's going to be in prisoner scrubs. Well, where's he living? Like, he's in a jail cell, Jess. Like, you put him in jail.
Yeah. Do you not comprehend what that
means? He's in jail. What's he eating? I don't know. Shitty jail food. Like, he's in jail. And I, you know, basically what it came down to is I was like, look, I don't know what happened up there. I don't know what happened up in the bathroom. All right. I said, I have an idea. I said, I was a cop for 20 years. Remember that. I went up to the bathroom. I saw what it looked like. I see what your wrist looks like. So I have an idea of what really happened. All right. And you do as well. And I said, but if what you say happened up there and you want Mike to go to jail for it, right? And that's what happened, then okay, cool. Just keep trucking forward. But if that's not what happened and you lied, you need to make it right. And you need to tell them you lied. So Mike and I are talking on the phone calls. I was saying some very, very specific stuff on the phone calls with Mike, knowing that they're recorded. I was a cop for almost 20 years, you know. It says these calls are recorded, right? I know they're recorded.
It didn't catch you off guard.
Go figure. So I'm saying some very specific things to Mike that I want them to hear if they listen to the tapes, and I want them to hear this stuff. Like based on like, hey, in my experience of being a cop for 20 years, this is what I'm seeing, dude. Mm-hmm. Right. And long story short, Jess contacts me 2 days after. 2 days later, she reaches out to me and goes, I want to tell what really happened. Things are coming back to me. You know, she's playing the game a little bit, trying to cover. Like, she doesn't want to come out and outright say, hey, I lied and made it all up. So I'm helping her through this. And she goes, I'm starting to remember the real truth of what happened. It's all the things are starting to come back to me. And I want to tell them what really happened. I said, okay, call them up and tell them what happened. You call them up, ask to speak to that officer and tell them. Well, I'm worried because he's kind of like been real pushy with me and pressuring me a little bit. And I'm scared to like call him and tell them this. I said, well, you shouldn't be. It's not his job to get mad at you. Like, he's supposed to be an unbiased, objective investigator. And if that's not the truth and you have the truth, he should want to hear that as a law enforcement, as an investigator, as a law enforcement officer. Well, will you be with me when I call him? Oh yeah, sure. No problem. So she calls the officer on speakerphone, gives her new statement, which ironically lines up with the statement that Mike gave pretty accurately. And I'm listening to the cop on the other end who's not happy about any of it and is getting very, very emotional, very argumentative, very kind of angry sounding and harsh and sharp with her. And she makes a new statement, right? We bail Mike out of jail. There's a whole litany of things going on with Mike's case, right? So Mike's case.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, because in Washington, if it's domestic violence, the state will be the victim.
Yes. And that's what essentially happened here, right?
So, because it's so common for girls to
go back on their story for sure. And I know that as a cop, I know it's very common for victims of domestic assault, primarily the women, to
so it's the same in Utah then.
Yeah, same in Utah.
So then they're basically saying, we don't believe your second statement. We think you're covering.
Correct.
Case moves forward.
Correct. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. You don't want to press charges. Doesn't matter. You change your statement. Doesn't matter. We're still moving forward with the original investigation.
Yep.
Right. Which was totally fucked. Right. No detectives were called down. Special victims unit wasn't called down. This rookie patrol officer and his sergeant took off and ran with it, and they fucked it all up, which I started to learn, right? So she changed her statement. She goes in and drops the protective order. She goes down to the jail and drops a protective order that's automatically set by the court, by the state, right? And she goes and removes that, says, I'm not in fear of him. I'm not in danger. I want to drop it so I can talk to him. And she goes and drops that. We bail Mike out. Mike makes bail.
After what, 7 days?
After 7 days, dude. Yeah.
It's a long time.
It was a long time. And also we found out that he was treated a certain way and basically denied bail and skipped on a bunch of bail hearings deliberately because they confused him with another Michael A. Glover, who's been in and out of the Utah jail system. So tell me how in this day and age, we have cars that drive themselves and shit, but someone can't look at a Mike A. Glover, different birth date, different middle name, even though same initial, but different birthdays. You don't cross-reference that. You just, same dude.
I'm going to guess the other Mike A. Glover isn't Korean.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's booking photos, you know?
That's what I'm saying. That's
there's
what I'm
booking
saying,
photos.
bro.
Like, come on, like, give me a fucking break.
Mike's a 6'1", 230-pound Asian dude. Those aren't very common.
No, for sure not. Yeah, for sure. You know? So his case is moving forward. His case is now in the court system, right? His case is going through. They're learning about it. They're realizing, oh, this is not really what it looks or what it appeared to be initially. So all the felonies eventually get dropped down to misdemeanors, right? And then the x-rays finally are released in discovery. And guess what the x-ray shows from the hospital that day? 0 injury.
Well, shocking.
The x-ray shows 0 injury. And
and correct me if I'm wrong, the charging document said broken wrist.
Said broken wrist.
Yeah. So somewhere between the radiologist saying that there's absolutely no injury and a police officer writing broken wrist in his probable cause statement, connect those dots for me.
So as the document, the release document from the hospital, I saw it, said subtle lucency on radial distal edge. Lucency is like the bright whiteness that you see in x-rays sometimes.
Okay.
The contrast of the bone. And sometimes lucency can basically show healing or a slight injury. And I saw the x-ray, and I'm not a radiologist. I don't read x-rays for a living, but it looked like a normal wrist to me. And then it said suspect radial distal fracture.
Now it says suspect because that is what
she was complaining of.
She said.
Right. She was complaining of pain in her wrist, and she claimed that it was grabbed and twisted till she heard a snap and pain.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
So the doctor's like, basically it's covering in their ass. Like, you can't say there's nothing wrong with your wrist. You're fine. Go. Right. It says suspect radial distal fracture. Once we got the x-rays in discovery, The x-rays went out to 4 different independent radiologists. And this is the other thing I'm hearing from the internet. Yeah, what do you think's going to happen when you pay a radiologist a whole bunch of money to look at an x-ray?
Yeah, I'm sure a bunch of radiologists are going to compromise their entire career for Mike Glover.
For sure. And one, guess what?
And risk criminal fucking prosecution.
None of the radiologists got paid. they weren't on a payroll, right? And all the radiologists came back independently of one another saying it's a normal wrist. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no, a whole bunch of medical speak, but basically no breaks or fractures, no dislocations, no soft tissue damage. And I was like, well, how can you tell there's no soft tissue damage? Because the spacing of the carpals in the wrist, the alignment of the hand bones in the wrist would be off if there was soft tissue
swelling
damage.
or whatnot.
Swelling, right? Yeah. Everything's normal. Okay, so no injury to the wrist. Everything's normal. Normal wrist.
The whole case is riding on.
The whole case
you
was
hurt
riding
my
on
wrist.
The whole case was riding on that. Well, as soon as that got to the prosecutor, guess what happened?
I'm assuming they dropped it.
They dismissed everything.
Oh, we're shocking.
They dismissed the whole case.
We're charging you with breaking this girl's wrist. And
We're charging you
now
with
it's not broken.
Like 4 or 5 felonies for 30 years in jail. Because an officer put down that you broke her wrist in rage, and you even claimed, she says you claimed, I'm going to break your fucking wrist, bitch, which is what she told the cop that he said. And guess what? All he would have had to have done was stuck around a little bit and talked to the doctor and said, hey, doc, run this x-ray by. Show me, what are you talking about? What is lucency? What is subtle distal fracture? What is this stuff?
Oh, you're saying the cop.
Yeah, if the cop had stuck around and done that, the doctor would have told him, look, I don't see anything in the x-ray. It looks like a normal wrist. It looks totally fine to me. She's complaining of pain. Maybe there's something I don't see. Well, guess what? That's called being an investigator, folks. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your fucking job. And then you go talk to him and, oh, his story's lining up more with the evidence of the x-ray. And his story is lining up more with the evidence of this scene in the bathroom where this quote unquote struggle occurred, where there's no signs of a struggle. Whose story is more likely to be true?
Did they go to the house?
They went to the house. Yeah.
Okay.
They went to the house. All they saw was the door pushed open, right? They went to the house. So they didn't do any of that. They were cherry picking the evidence that they wanted to get this big fish of Mike Glover.
Of course, because that's a fucking feather in their cap, dude.
So they were cherry picking.
And then they can also be like, oh, this guy that preaches community and family, he's a fraud.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, I said some things on the phone calls with Mike over the course of a few days, hoping that the officers would listen, and wanted to get them a little emotional. Simple stuff like, dude, I've been a cop for 20 years. I've never seen such incompetency in investigating ever in my life. These guys have no idea what they're doing. These guys are totally incompetent, totally vindictive and biased. They're sitting back with their little tubby bellies, not, right?
Are they little fatzos?
Yeah, they're a little little soft,
little softies,
little baby shit. And look, I've got some friends over at Provo PD. I know some good cops over at Provo PD. So it's not everyone. It's not the department as a whole, right? It's just these 2 guys that happen to be the ones investigating it.
God, I hate I don't know if I hate the fact or if I like it that they're little fucking soft Teletubby motherfuckers.
Well, it just kind of goes back.
But it's par for the course.
It's par for the course, right? And I wasn't saying that unwillingly, like unreasonably either. Like,
it's the truth.
It is. It's the truth. They are incompetent. They don't know how to investigate a case. They don't know how to be an unbiased, unemotional, objective investigator. They didn't know how to do that. They work in a little sleepy town. This kid is on the job maybe 2 years, I think he told me. So it's probably been on the street like a year. Yeah. Has no idea what he's doing. And this sergeant is just pushing him and pushing him, pushing him, right? So they go back, they listen to all the jail recorded phone calls, which I will tell you from being a cop, and we've also heard from guys in the Utah County Sheriff's Office from the jail. They're like, dude, no one ever comes back and pulls tapes unless it's a murder or like an organized crime case. And I can tell you that from being a cop too. We don't go listen to jail tapes on a domestic assault.
Yeah.
Like, we don't do that, right? So they're doing that. They're listening to tapes like 2 days later, 3 days later. They're listening to all the tapes. And they throw another felony charge on Mike for violating the protection order because him and Jess talked while he was in jail. But he talked a day after the no contact order was dropped by her.
God.
And they didn't even go to look and investigate that. They just charged him with another felony. So that's another arrest without probable cause.
Yeah.
That's a Fourth Amendment civil rights violation. They did not have probable cause to charge him with that crime because there was no contact order had been dropped and removed. He was legally allowed. She's like, he was legally allowed to talk to her, yet they charged her anyway. So fast forward a little bit. This is maybe, I don't know. This is probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks in, let's say. And I hear from an inside source that, hey, I overheard the rookie officer saying that they're looking to long form you. I don't even know what long form is. We don't do that in Louisiana. In Louisiana,
I don't know what that is
we either have probable cause and we come and arrest you, or we serve you with a summons, or we call you in for questioning. Simple, right? Well, long forming means their probable cause in their case isn't strong enough to come and arrest you, and they're too fucking chicken shit to call you in and question you. So they write this up, they convince a prosecutor to accept it, and then they serve you. Yeah, crazy. With a felony.
So what did it say? So they sent you the documents. They sent you the charging documents, basically?
So I get a notification in the mail a few weeks later that I am being charged with a 3rd-degree felony for witness tampering. Now,
Because you talked to Jess about the case.
Because I talked to Jess, and I was talking to Mike on the phone in jail. Not about anything like related, just how life was and all that stuff, right? I read the probable cause report, and it's not probable cause. It's absolutely atrocious. Like, I've written thousands of probable cause statements. You know, I've approved probable cause statements. Would not classify as probable cause anywhere in the country. And so basically they charged me with 3rd-degree felony witness tampering, thinking that I coerced her or told her to lie and tell them what happened, when all I told her was like, you need to tell the truth. So they charged me with this. Meanwhile, as they charged me with this felony, Mike's case gets fully dismissed, completely dropped, poof, gone. Yep. She lied.
Yeah, once there's no injury.
She lied to the cops. She made it up. He didn't do any of that. He didn't hurt her. There's no more case, which means there's no more crime, which means there's no more victim or witness. How can I tamper
A witness that
on a
doesn't
crime
exist.
and a witness that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah.
They're still running with me.
So it's not fucking
It's
done
not
yet.
done. No, it's not done for me. It's not done for me. I still have a court hearing date
When is that, dude?
sometime in September. So I literally went from being a cop 7 months ago, never being in trouble with the law ever my entire life, never being arrested ever, to being charged with a felony by these corrupt, vindictive, incompetent knuckleheads from Provo Police Department for doing the right thing and basically helping a man that I knew was innocent of what the crime he was charged with.
So what's the hearing going to be about when you go? What is the hearing? Is it your initial appearance?
I've already done my initial appearance.
Okay.
Right? I already did my initial appearance, sat for like almost 2 hours waiting for them to get through the docket.
Yeah, yep.
And it's like dude after dude with like forehead tattoos and third offense this and second offense this. And then I show up and they're like, Mr. Lapin, I'm in a suit and tie, you know? And obviously my attorney handled it. But now I go for, I guess, preliminary hearing, whatever it is.
Okay.
And like,
here's my question. Are they just so fucking stupid that the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing?
I think that is part of it. I think part of it is.
Well, I would assume the judge would be like, this is a witness tampering case related to the case that literally got thrown out.
They don't even look into that.
Why is this even? Why am I even seeing this?
Right. Well, that's the problem too with the whole justice system right now. Is like right now, I'm literally just like a docket number.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's it.
They
don't give a shit that there's a human on the other end of it.
Are they going to wait until this court hearing to put the pieces together and be like, oh shit, this case was actually dismissed?
Yeah.
Because how could they how could the case move forward for 1 minute when there's no case?
Right. Well, bro, and that's what's happening. I'm literally just getting drug through the fucking mud for months. For months. Mike did too. For months, because Provo PD is slow rolling the release of evidence deliberately just to fuck with us. Right. And now I'm just a docket number on some prosecutor's desk. No one gives a shit that there's a human that's not guilty on the other side.
Well, I would
of
think like once the cops lost their case with Mike, you'd think they'd be like, oh, fuck. Well, we know we're not going to get Lapin now. But instead of
They're
going
doubling
out,
down.
I was going to say, instead of going out and just, what does doubling down mean though? There's no crime. You can't have a crime without it. You can't have a crime related to a witness without a witness.
I know.
Right?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd.
So
It
are
is
they
absurd.
literally just hoping to create some stress in your life and wait for it to go to court so it gets thrown out there?
I mean,
Because if it doesn't get thrown out during your preliminary hearing, what the fuck are they going to say?
Right.
Is the case is
Right.
riding on?
Right. And I have no idea. And anyone like literally,
Yeah, you're as fucking perplexed by
I'm
this as
purple,
I
dude.
am.
I've never seen anything this egregious or incompetent in my entire career of like 2 decades.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything this crazy. And, you know, it's like, there's no crime. My probable cause statement literally is like, my attorney was like, dude, I've never seen anything like this in my career. To say this is thin is a massive, massive overreach. The report, I read the whole report that this kid put together. Literally, he's taking quotes of me from the phone calls that I made, that I was talking to Mike with in jail. Tons of errors saying I called him from jail. I can't call him to jail. I can't call the jail.
Hey, dummy.
He's calling
You think
me,
he has
right?
a phone in his cell.
Right. But all these little things mean a bit, you know, the deal, writing a report, right? It's got to be accurate. Words have meanings. So the whole report has a ton of errors in it, but the report, their whole case is hinging on small little clips and quotes of me talking to Mike. At no point in time did Jess go and tell them, hey, I'm being pressured by Greg, or he's coercing me, or he's threatening me, or this or that. None of that. They have no statement from the witness for this charge. They're charging strictly out of spite and utilizing the phone calls to say that I did this, which literally he's quoting me in some of the recordings saying, look, I'm telling her she just needs to tell the truth of what actually happened that day. I was like, dude, I did my own investigation. I'm a cop. I know what happened. Like, how is that? That is not witness tampering.
Is there, I mean, is there some strange way that you think they're trying to still charge you even though the case no longer exists?
I think they are.
Like, it seems absolutely just egregious and ridiculous.
Super.
But I'm wondering if they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. The case got dropped.
Right. They're trying to. Chick, it's not playtime. Go Platts. Yeah. No, I mean, I think they are. And I think it's a couple things. I think one, if someone accepts it and still wants to charge me, cool, let's go to trial. Which is absurd. And also I think I'm just a victim of the criminal justice system now. I'm just a docket number. No one cares that there's an innocent dude on the other end of that docket number.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. They're so enthralled in their jobs and positions now. They don't care. And this is unfortunate. And I've seen this firsthand. It's unfortunate, but they don't care now to actually find the truth or investigate the truth. Or is this man guilty or innocent? It is, can we win this case or not?
Yeah.
If we can't win it, let's get rid of it. Oh, we can win it? Oh, who cares? Let's just go. Let's run with it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. And it's absolutely fucking absurd.
You know what? What an interesting experience though, just to see like, because bro, if they're fucking with you, they probably fuck with everyone.
Well, and this is the other thing. It's like, this is what's kind of scary and what I feel bad for. Like, thank God to Evan Hafer. Evan Hafer's covering my legal bills completely.
Fuck yeah, go out and get yourself some Black Rifle coffee.
Seriously.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
Evan Hafer's covering my legal bills. I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. Evan's covering it.
What a stud, bro.
You know, like if I was just Joe Schmo that got caught up in this, you're not going to be able to fight it. You're going to get a state attorney. You're not going to be on the Endless Endeavor podcast.
100%.
Mike's not going to be on Cleared Hot with Andy.
Yep.
Like they don't have the reach or the financial resources.
And I've said this, I know it's a completely different story, but it's relevant to compare because remember when I got the cease and desist order for this gym?
Yes. Yeah.
And then it fucking went nuts because I have a big social media presence.
Right.
I have a big influence on the community. This podcast gets 10,000 downloads an episode.
Yeah.
And the county started feeling it. And they immediately reached back out to me and said, Greg, this fight's getting out of control. We don't want a big fight with you. I said, I didn't start this fight. You did.
Right.
Well, we need to figure out a way to come to a solution. So in order to not be fucked over by your government, you have to have 100,000 people following you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, what does that have to do with anything?
I know it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Dude.
Yeah. It's absurd. So, you know, they've fucked a lot of people's lives over strictly out of ego. And look, I get it. She started it. She made a mistake. She was emotional. She was upset. She's got she made a mistake. Okay. It's not up to me to decide what happens between them two. It's not up to me.
Yeah.
She's a nice woman. She's a good mother. She made a mistake. She went off the rails. She started it. I get it. Okay. And she's going to have to own that.
Well,
right?
and I think it's a good point to bring up though, because I really like Jess.
Yeah. Same here.
And that is also kind of one of the reasons why I was like, I guarantee you postpartum's playing a role.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And look, the days leading after, I was really concerned for her mental health and her safety and the child's, I was there out of the kindness of my heart, so she started it. Okay. We know that, but it could have ended almost immediately had the cops actually been professionals.
Yeah.
And had the cops actually conducted an unbiased, objective investigation, which they didn't. They just saw what they saw and they wanted to make their case and they ran with it. And then I got in the way and, this guy thinks he's better than us. This is what I love. And this is all going to come out, but I got to say it on here because I'm done giving a shit. There's going to be more legal action where this comes from. As soon as my charges are dropped, there's going to be more legal action where this comes from.
Of course.
Because they've fucked Mike's life over a lot and cost him a ton of money.
I know, dude.
They've fucked with my life seriously over the last couple of months and, potentially damaged my reputation and standing in the community that I still train law enforcement officers and law enforcement agencies.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but certain partnerships and sponsorships have parted ways.
Have already parted ways.
And it's like, dude,
the business has been hurt. We've had to lay people off of the business. They had families. They had children.
Yep.
It's really fucked a whole, a business in their community that's there to better their community. Dude, a month and a half before I was up in the office with them arresting Mike, I was sitting in the office of the training sergeant, showing them our capabilities at Fieldcraft headquarters and offering to train their officers for free.
Yeah. Terrible people, bro.
Right? And now I'm arrested by them. What are we fucking talking about here? So there's more, there's going to be more.
You just got arrested through a letter.
I got arrested through a letter.
No one ever put handcuffs on you, right?
No one ever put handcuffs on me. Although I had to drive myself down to county lockup and get booking photos taken, get fingerprints taken, and DNA taken because it's a felony. So now I have an arrest record.
Bro, that'd be hard for me, bro.
Bro, it was... you want to talk about?
I know.
And I'll say this:
we don't have to talk about that. Everybody knows what we mean by that.
Yeah, the Utah County Sheriff's Office has been rad. Those guys have been super cool. They were super cool to Mike. They were super cool to me. When I was in there, they're like, "What fucking Provo do to you now, bro?" They know. They know. And I was chatting with them. They're like, dude, I'm sorry for this, man. You'll get through it. They were cool. But yeah, now
does the county guys run the jails?
Yeah. Okay. County guys run typical sheriff's office. They have a correction side and enforcement side. But yeah,
not Utah all County, states are like that, but a lot are.
Yeah. The Utah County Sheriff's Office guys have been super cool. But yeah, now I have an arrest record. Yeah. Now I have booking photos.
And bro, if we're being fucking serious, you don't make it to 44, 45 like we are, being shitty, criminal-minded people and not have a record.
No, of course not.
That should say something.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Dude, I've spent the last 20 plus years either enforcing the laws and serving my community or the government overseas. Literally over 2 decades I've been doing that.
Well, bro, and that's why I hate the government now.
Yeah. Well, because
it's I've given them so much of my fucking life.
Dude.
And then the older you get, the more you can detach and just look at it for what it is. It's like, oh, this is just a big corrupt game.
Yeah.
And we were just pawns in their game, bro.
It's just absolutely absurd. Yeah, it's gross, man. And this is super grotesque what I've seen. Mama, go Platz.
Dude, she's getting kind of aggressive with me.
Bro, she wants attention. Like, she's done in this room. She's like, I'm ready to go play now.
Well, we can wrap
she's a mountain. She's a mountain, dude.
Right? But and she flew today, and then she was in the car for 2 hours.
We've been up since
you had to wait for me at the airport for an hour. Some terrible friend.
Oh my God.
But hey, did you notice the car was clean when I picked you up?
It's not now. It's filled with lily hair because she's shedding like crazy.
I was actually thinking about taking the leaf blower out there.
Oh yeah. But dude, it's been really egregious. It's fucking with us hard. You know, again, like just even mental stress, mental, physical, emotional stress of like, dude, for 2 months basically, I'm waiting for them to come do a no-knock warrant on my home.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, I'm not sleeping.
Like people think we're nuts when we say this kind of stuff. Like my buddy Toby, who you guys know, he's on the podcast a lot. The FBI interviewed him about a YouTube video of guerrilla warfare. Bro, the fucking that's real. That happened. And he said one of them was like trying to be good cop and one of them was playing bad cop and it was some dumb bitch. And it's like,
it's ridiculous.
Fuck you. Like, that's where we're at now. You can be a fucking special operations soldier that gives your fucking country 10 combat deployments. Right. And if you speak about things online that they're concerned about, they're going to show up at your fucking house.
Oh, it's absolutely absurd. It's ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, this is a small snippet of it, but they're trying to charge me with a felony.
Yeah.
They're trying to put me in jail. They're trying to put me in prison. A sentence carries up to 5 years.
Well, let me know how that goes. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more shit. We're going to have to do level 2 of this podcast. Yeah. We're going to have to do part 2 of this podcast because there's a lot more shit coming down the pipe from me and Mike. You know, actions have consequences. We've said that before. Actions have consequences. And if you wear a badge and you're sworn to uphold the law and you're violating the law,
fuck you.
That's right. You're skirting around the law. Fuck you. Like
if you want to be a fucking cop, cool, right? We talk about cops all the time on the show. A lot of listeners are cops.
Yeah.
We're hosting Guns and Geese, which starts tomorrow. A lot of cops attend that. I like cops. I've been immersed in the law enforcement community for fucking since 2011, right? But the truth is, if you want to preserve the image and you want to preserve what the badge is supposed to represent, we have to call out the shitty ones.
Absolutely.
Because that's what gives the good ones credibility. And bro, society is trusting government less and less and less and less every single day. And what are cops? Cops are literally the enforcement arm of the government.
Right.
So as people lose trust with the government, I actually think it's imperative for cops to
step up and be even more.
Step up and be better.
100%.
And toe the line harder and make sure you're always doing the right thing. Show the community that we're actually on your side and we're here to do our job legally, morally, and ethically. And anytime cops start to step outside of that, we police our own.
Right. When we need to. And everyone, people who know me know, I'm the biggest supporter of law enforcement that want to do better. I'm also the harshest fucking critic and I'll do everything in my power to get you fired if you're not one of those guys.
Yeah.
But what does it say on the side or back of almost every police car for every agency around the entire country? Two words.
Serve and protect.
Serve and protect.
Yeah.
That is your fucking job. Serve and protect.
Let me ask you this. When you were cadre for St. Tammy Parish
Sheriff's Office,
you were cadre for their the recruits going through the police academy.
Yeah.
I got to watch you in action one day. And all the fat cadets, you literally called them over and you said, "Hey, I got a serious question for you guys. Who found out they were going to be starting the police academy today? Who found out yesterday?"
Yeah.
And they're all like, you get these dumb looks in their face. And you're like, "'Cause it's very apparent you took zero pride and you did zero preparation based on who showed up." Because like even during the warm up, some of them were
dying.
Yeah. And a warm up is literally just getting your fucking synovial fluids moving. It's not supposed to be taxing your fucking cardiovascular
synovial
fitness.
Fluids. You hear that, folks?
Yeah, go Google that. All right. Would the charging officer, would he have been pulled and put on your team fatty list to get educated?
No, he probably wouldn't have been separated into the fat side.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm just trying to determine how fat we're talking.
Yeah, no, he's not over. I wouldn't say he's overweight. He's just
soft as baby shit.
Yeah, soft as baby shit. With like a little wispy mustache that he's trying to grow. It was really horrible.
God, dude.
I hope he listens to this. I really do.
Tell you what, bro. Come to Fieldcraft headquarters. We'll put 5 minutes on the clock.
Oh, you know they won't.
And if you win, I'll plead guilty. And if I win, you got to drop the case. That's fair. That's man shit.
No. He can't even drop the case. He's going to be fired, though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, he'll be fired.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Maybe even worse. Depends. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to talk about too much, but.
Well, and I've talked with Evan. I'm not going to say this on the air. It's just private stuff. But let's just say that Evan has a lot of resources.
Yes. Yeah.
And, bro, a lot of this world is who you know.
For sure.
And,
yeah,
you're fucking with someone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they thought they might get a big head on their wall.
And instead, they got a big head coming after them.
Instead, they've got a big...
Because that game works both ways.
That's right. They made a big enemy. They made a big enemy with a lot of resources.
Yeah.
And a lot of networking, a lot of connections. And there are some resources coming to bear that they're not ready for.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Well, fuck, dude. Let's just make this a short episode.
How short was that?
It's 120.
We were talking about it like an hour and a half. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah. We opened up with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Got into the fucking...
Me being a felon.
Yeah.
Not convicted. I'm not convicted yet.
You got to get a neck tattoo now,
dude, I've got one drawn up. I'm getting one.
All right, dude. That means
no spider webs.
Hey, you caught your first felony charge, and get your teardrop, get your spider web.
There you go.
That means Greg Lapin killed a man.
Yeah, it happens.
And then we got class tonight here in a couple hours. We got Guns and Geese coming up, and then as always on Sunday evening, we're going to record our Guns and Geese recap.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put this out there right now. I think this is going to be, every camp's our favorite camp, but it's been a long time. It seems like a good group of people.
We have 11 alumni, I think, 11 out of 30 alumni, which is rad, the fact that people want to come back.
But then a huge percentage of the people that signed up are part of my online accountability group too.
That's right.
Like 10 of them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's a bunch of people that are already bought into what we do.
Yeah, and let's give that Forged Ferocity.
Forged Ferocity.
Check it out, Forged Ferocity.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's an online accountability group where we have 2 meetings a week. And bro, it's cool because it's what it's becoming. I didn't really know what it was going to become.
Right. I remember
we're just going to build this and kind of see what happens. And bro, it's just become a network where fucking people that don't have like-minded people that are local to them, they can kind of find a group of people that hold them accountable, people that motivate them, people that inspire them, people that want to see them grow, and just little shit, dude. Like we have group threads too, and we have Signal chat group and whatnot. And it's like, bro, the little things matter.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like,
well, they know there's someone there that cares.
Yes.
And that's going to, kind of going back to like all this shit, like, if you don't hold your people accountable, or if you don't hold your friends accountable, then you're not a real friend. Then you don't really give a shit. It's like, if Mike had done something wrong, I would have held him accountable for it.
Of course.
He didn't do something wrong, so I was trying to hold the system accountable.
Yeah.
The system's going to be held accountable. We hold cops accountable because we care about the career. We spent time in that profession, that career.
Yes.
And we care about the career. Like, people holding each other accountable. You hold me accountable. I hold you accountable.
Well,
how many times? Like,
people, and that's the thing. People mistake accountability as like this, like, oh, you're being a fucking dick. No, I only hold you accountable if I love you.
Right.
Because if I don't love you, I don't give a fuck if you get morbidly obese and you have a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, no, cool. All right.
Yeah, you go blow your heart up. Have fun with that.
Right.
But it's interesting because it's like a big group of the guys from the Forged Ferocity crew did we all did it together, 10 weeks of meat and fruit. And that's it. Right. And in our Signal group, it's like every meal people post a picture of it and be like, all right, this is lunch,
Yeah.
And what it ended up creating is an environment where, like, if you cheat, like if it's just you and you're the only one that's you're accountable to, and you're like, oh fuck, I want a piece of pizza today.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to own it, and if there's no guilt attached to it,
right,
like it's exponentially more difficult to do shit alone because we're tribal creatures, right? And as soon as you put that little connection element in there, and there were dudes that are like, hey guys, I was at my sister's wedding and I ate a fucking piece of wedding cake.
Piece of cake.
And
All right, five.
And it's like, and I have to own this, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even that the group is going to be like, what the fuck, dude?
It's just them.
The accountability happens because they know they have to share that with people.
For sure. Absolutely.
And that's where the fucking magic happens. And like, dude, me and Jenny were out to dinner for, I think it was our anniversary. It was our anniversary because we were at this really fancy steakhouse and I just got a steak because I'm on the fucking meat and fruit train, right? And then at the end of the dinner, they brought us a creme brulee and they said, hey, we overheard it's your anniversary. This is on the house for us,
right?
Or from us as a way of saying happy anniversary. And it's like, hey, are you going to have a bite of this? I said, here's the deal. If I have a bite of that,
I got to take a picture of it and send it in.
I have to tell the guys,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
If I have to tell the guy, and I said, and here's the worst thing. It was my idea to do
You're
this.
the leader of it.
It was my idea to do this.
Yeah.
So if I'm the guy that had the idea to do this and talked to a group of guys and doing a 10-week challenge with me, and then I fail it, I say, I cannot have that.
Yeah. And by proxy, the group held you accountable.
100%. And that's that was my point. If I wasn't part of that group,
Right.
Oh, what's a fucking bite of creme brulee? That's not the end of the world.
Good thing we weren't at Liz's doing Banana Foster's waffles. You'd have fucking eaten some of that shit.
I'll tell you what, bro. You don't live in Louisiana anymore, and I don't miss Louisiana. I miss the vibe.
Yeah,
we get the vibe wherever
but of
we
guns
go,
and
though,
keys,
right?
Yeah, right.
But it will be worth at one point in our lives traveling back down there, simply for that.
Yeah. When I was down there last couple months ago doing the SWAT thing with my guys, I went to Liz's by myself for breakfast one morning. And you remember the one waitress that was always our waitress, Kristen?
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I want steak and eggs, but I want you to bring me Bananas Foster's waffle, but only if you girls are going to eat it with me. Cause I only want one triangle.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat one triangle of the Bananas Foster's waffles and you can have the rest. And sure enough, so we had bananas.
See, that's where we're different, bro. You'd
eat the whole fucking
That's what I'm saying. You have the discipline to just have a few bites of dessert.
Yeah, no, bro.
And then the rest can get sent away. I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. I'm a gluttonous fucking pig. And that's why for me, it's all or nothing typically.
Well, that's why we've talked about 75 hard. We've always joked, you do 75 hard and you're like, well, Greg lives it.
Yeah.
You know, do I drink a gallon of water every day? No, I don't. I drink enough water. Do I read? No, I don't. But I do, it's like, I kind of live my own version of 75
You
hard.
figured out your own.
I figured out.
Well, bro, and you're fucking 45 years old and you're a jacked fucking stud. So your program's working. You know what I'm saying? It's funny though, because like, I think 75 hard it's a really, really good way to onboard people to being disciplined.
100%.
Right.
I agree 100%.
And I was talking to Angie about this the other day because she's like, you know what? For the first time, I'm okay not going as hard as I fucking can every single workout for 45 minutes because she's a freak in the gym, bro. And it was literally, I think it was yesterday, me and her and Jenny were talking. She's like, I'm at peace knowing like I'm a good athlete and I don't have to make every moment in the gym miserable.
Right.
And she's like, so I've actually been doing some workouts that are more enjoyable. And it's like, yeah, Ange, you've already shown that you know how to get results.
For sure.
You've already shown that you know how to be disciplined. You don't need the 75 protocol anymore.
Yeah.
Build the protocol that you like now.
For you. Yeah.
For you. Because you've already built you.
Yeah, exactly. I told you I've changed my workout recently and I joined like a health club, like a fitness club.
Uh-huh.
I'm not lifting free weights really anymore. I'll do it like maybe once a week, fairly light, but I'm not doing heavy squats or deadlifts or hang cleans or anything. I'm using machines. Dude, it hurts my body too much, man, to lift a bar, to put a bar on my back, all that stuff. So I'm using machines, more bodybuilding style isolation machines. Yeah. I'm doing a lot like the booty machines that all the chicks are on and stuff, but like I feel good.
I like those things too, man.
I'm building strength.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my physique. I'm building strength. I get all the cardio and other shit that I want on the mats.
Yeah.
But I'm building strength. I'm building my physique and I don't hurt as much.
For sure. Bro, I'm 100% on board with that. I mean, obviously I don't have machines out here. I still use free weights.
Yeah.
But it's slow, controlled, lifts.
Dude, I couldn't even do that anymore, man. Fuck, it was hurting.
Is that the next phase of my body?
Bro, I'm telling you, it was. I've been doing it about 6 months. It still kind of is a little bit. It's a big ego crush for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
dude.
and I'll tell you this, bro. I used to attribute a lot of my injuries to jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty sure it was all CrossFit.
Yeah, yeah, for
Because
sure.
I would CrossFit with the girls, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week,
Yeah.
and then train jiu-jitsu
Oh, yeah.
as much as we train. And my body was literally falling apart. And maybe it's the combination of the two, but I've eliminated CrossFit 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deadlift as many times as I can in 20 minutes.
Right. No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, I know it's asinine.
Right. And I'll still do deadlift sometimes.
For sure.
But I got the fucking, was it the hex bar or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
So it loads the weight better.
Yep.
And then I just do it slow and controlled. Yeah. And when my muscles feel tired. And here's another thing I don't do anymore. I don't have a reps count in my head.
No.
I'm going to do however many reps that my body wants to do.
Right. Same here.
And bro, and a lot of times that's to failure. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for sure. We still push it.
That's what I'm saying. Once you know how to push yourself in the capacity that you know induces muscle growth and fucking it benefits your strength and your fitness.
Yeah.
I don't need to have this fucking schematic of 5 of these times 3 and then I move on and I superset it with this. No. Bro, most of my workouts now, I put good music on. Yep. I'll take a couple hits of weed and I'll literally just get into my body and be like, dude, what needs work?
Yeah,
what wants some work right now? Oh, you know what wants work? My shoulders want some work.
Yeah.
Let's do some overhead presses.
I'm doing the same thing, dude. I'm doing the same. I'm just doing them all on machines now.
And I'm more, feels better. And I look and feel better than when I was 35.
Yeah, same here.
And I went through a phase where like, bro, I could barely walk. Aching, my neck, my knees. It was just fucking living in misery. And now it's like, oh, I'm feeling healthy again. Yeah. So I shouldn't have fucking. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that out loud, I know, dude.
Both of us do that.
But I already said I'm not training hard tonight. We got too busy of a weekend to be getting gnarly rounds with my fucking young savages. But yeah, bro, it's also just incorporating a more. Just an easier tempo of my week. It's like I do a lot of yoga.
We're maturing, bro. We're maturing.
And and I like it. I like it, bro. I've said it a million times on the show. Eventually, like I'm incorporating more yoga. There's going to be a time when yoga probably replaces jiu-jitsu in my world because if I can't fight you, I don't think I want to do jiu-jitsu anymore. Right. And I know that sounds, a lot of jiu-jitsu people think that sounds like a crazy thing to say. And when the time comes, maybe I'll feel differently. But what I love is the grind.
I don't know, man, dude. So I saw, it's funny. We've talked about stuff like this before, but I watched a video today and it looked to be at a tournament. And it said 84-year-old black belt fighting like, I don't know, 37 or 38-year-old black belt. And it was obviously an exhibition match or something. And this guy who's younger than us now, black belt, is just kind of like laying there and letting this 84-year-old man like almost just flop on him. Like you compare, I'm like, bro, come on, man.
That ain't for us.
That ain't for me, dude.
That ain't for me either, man.
That's like, the old Indians, the ceremony of going out on a buffalo hunt and you tie a buffalo up and let some old dude walk right up to it and shoot it or something.
Well, bro, and here's something to think about. Like we literally talked about it on the drive up here today, how Eben Britton, who's actually going to be on the next week's podcast, he played 6 seasons in the NFL. And he talked about when he left the NFL, how like a lot of guys clung to their heyday. Yeah. Dude, when I was in the NFL, I was this, I was that. They were in their prime, the highlight of their life, that kind of stuff. Right. And we see the same thing in soldiers or contractors, right? Like people always want to look back and hold on to what they used to be.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, part of life has changed.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm 80 years old putting a gi on and I can't do anything, that's kind of a version of me holding on to something that I'm not anymore.
For sure.
And dude, with just knowing that change is inevitable, once that phase of my life starts to come to fruition, it's probably time to move on. And I'm going to be okay with that.
We're not making it to 84 anyway. You don't know this, but our pact, we've made a pact.
the 65-year-old pact.
Yeah, but we're 2 years apart, so we got to figure out how that's going to work. So maybe I'll say if we're feeling good,
you get 67,
65 and 63. I say I'll push it to 67.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see, man. Every once in a while, you see a dude on Instagram that's all fucking yarded and doing pull-ups and fucking like crazy calisthenics.
73 or something.
73, and I was like, I could get down with that, dude.
Dude, if I can do crazy pull-ups and I'm still ripped with a bunch of Viagra, I'll be good to go, man. I'll be good to go.
I'll just go to fucking Thailand and disappear for months on
That's
end.
it, dude.
Where are the Gregs at?
Yeah.
I know. I don't know, but I know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man.
All right. Well, cool, man. We're going to wrap it up. Fun episode other than the hour where you had to talk about being a victim of corruption. But hey, that's what life goes sometimes.
Some life gives you lemonades, lemons, you got to make lemonade.
Oh, fuck. All right, let's go train. Let's have fun. And we'll be back with the Guns and Geese recap in 2 weeks.
Yeah. See ya.